Yo, the lottery is done. The Pelicans pick has been determined. Herb Jones was snubbed. Should the Pelicans trade the pick? Should they keep the pick? What will they do? What will this team look like in less than a month? Let's talk about it.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your host, Chris Connor. Yo, so background. I was going to do a show on Herb Jones last week, but I got a little busy and wasn't able to put something together. So I figured I'd sandwich it together. Week later, draft lottery results are in. Pelicans' fate is determined. All dreams of being top four is out the window, and now we having a different discussion. But I think one that we all expected. So let's get into it. I'm sure as everyone knows that tunes into this show, Pelicans are at 14, and already hasn't even been 24 hours from the time I'm recording since the Pelicans since their fate has been announced, and there's been a lot of opinions about what they should do. Should they trade the pick? Should they keep the pick? Should they package a player with said pick? Should they move up? Should they move down in the draft? There was actually a Pro Pills talk show yesterday with Lito, Ross, Chaz, Justin. They did a show giving their opinions about what they should do. Chaz dropped the show. If you haven't got a chance, check out the Pro Pills talk. Check out the Chaz show. Yeah, man. I mean, some of these opinions you knew already. Some of them are new, and there's been a bunch of other platforms that have dropped things about what the Pelicans should do. And even before it was announced they were officially at 14, odds alone, we were all prepping to say, all right, end of the lottery, what you gonna do? Yo, man, I'm a believer that at this point, especially the state that this organization is in, we'll see what happens with Trajan Langdon, which is a show down the line, who has currently, he might have an interesting situation to look into in Washington, and I'll just leave it there with their basketball operations job available there for him. But I mean, Pelicans, when you look at their team right now, you look at Dyson Daniels, you look at Trey Murphy entering his third year, Herb Jones to his third year, Jose Alvarado. You still have some work to do with Zion Williamson at a lot of different levels. And there's, we be talking about Carlo maybe at some point joining this team, joining this roster. Point is, man, you got a lot of young guys on this team, as is Kyra Lewis. If Jackson Hayes is brought back, you got a lot of individuals that have developmental shifts that you invested into already that should be important pieces to this team. Maybe not all those guys that I listed, but enough of them to where that's where I think your energy and a lot of levels should be. EJ Liddell. I think drafting another guy, unless you feel like they're a sure thing, there's a different side to the fact of that when you are a small market, you want to have as many assets and quality possible players. But I don't question the talent with some of the individuals that have been drafted to New Orleans. I question the time from a developmental perspective and the overall ability towards getting them turned into something, the vision, the path in reference to them being Pelicans, to where it just feels like putting another young guy, unless you are truthfully going to stash him to the G League. And every time we talk about these things, guys get hurt and these rookies are put in the spots in which they have to play, maybe earlier than sometimes it's expected, or maybe at a time in which they're not ready. I think that I don't think you can afford, or I don't think this team, and what I view as a make or break year for a lot of different individuals in this organization. I think it's tough to draft another rookie. I just do, unless you are trading up for Chaz's idea, trading up for a guy like Scoop Henderson, of course. You do something like that, then I get it. Or even Brandon Miller from Ohio State. Those are things in which, all right, well that makes sense. That's a surefire talent, a dude that's a top 4, top 3 overall talent. But you talk to dudes around in this draft, and you get different, various opinions about how deep it is. I haven't talked to a lot of people that view this draft as being deep. Some view it as being top heavy, and if you're the Pelicans, while you need quality depth, you have enough, I think, young guys that are going to play in some of those roles. I think the best course of action is to look to shop and trade that draft pick, and I ultimately think that's what they will do. And whether that means that Jonas Valanciunas is attached, which is something that I also think will happen. Some type of situation when you package 14, and when Jonas, maybe you trade back for picks down the end of the first round, second round pick, get an upgrade there or in a different spot. But I think ultimately that's what they will do. But I can also see the elements where they don't get exactly what they want necessarily. And maybe they have a few different individuals that they like, that they feel like it from a protection, from a cost metric might fit. Maybe individual that is ready to play, less of a project, less of a raw talent, and you can have a vision for that individual, sooner than maybe some of the guys that needed more work once they got into the facility. So, I mean, we'll see. But I'm curious to what you guys think. Should they trade the pick? What do you ultimately think will happen? I think that there's some guys out there that make sense, and I could see how they would fit. But I just think the Pelicans got a lot on their hands right now. They have to secure their floor right now, right? I think they have to secure the floor, and by that I mean you have to add ready-made talent, guys that fit, guys that aren't trying to figure things out, individuals that know exactly who they are, and it's a clear indication, regardless of influence from the front office, from the coaching staff, where this individual fits. And I think that this team needs that right away. It's too many unknowns, from the games played to the structure of things to the availability of certain guys to even how those individuals fit once they are available. And how's Herb Jones? Is Herb Jones going to look different coming into the start of next season? Who knows? What's Dyson Daniels going to look like? Is Trey Murphy going to be even better? You have a lot of those questions there, and I think that should be your focus when it comes to young talent. Take that pick, attach it with a veteran or someone currently on your team to get an upgrade towards another position. I think that needs work on your roster, as you should be looking to put yourself right back in where we was a team that has an opportunity to contend in the Western Conference, and we were talking top 6 around this time. Fingers crossed, as where we wanted this team to go. I think it's a similar situation, but the expectations, if healthy, should go beyond that. So we'll see what they do. What do you think they should do, and who are some of the prospects that you like? I'm with them wanting a shooter. I'm with them thinking that they need a shooter no matter what they do. If they do decide to draft somebody, or even later in the draft, I think the team needs a shooter, and they can use a movement shooter of sorts, someone more modern, even if it's a big man, somebody more modern. I don't know if they can afford to draft another 19, 20-year-old individual that's going to need time to grow, that's not ready to contribute if their number is called. Because 9 times out of 10, that person, that number is always called with the luck that we've had with this franchise. So that's that side of things. I think if you ask 60 to 70 Pelicans fans, most of them will say that they believe that they should trade the pick. I'm with that. Second part of the show, man, Herb Jones. We just talked a little bit about Herb, and in retrospect to this draft and what we feel, what he may or may not look like coming into his third season as a professional. He's due for an extension very soon. So it'll be very interesting to see what the Pelicans do there, and what Herb does, and how he continues to improve. But the it's about a week old now. I missed it, but I did want to talk about it a little bit. Herb Jones, for the second straight year, was left off of an All NBA defensive team. And while I recognize the outrage, and I think from a numbers perspective, analytics, the eye test, from what I watched in all the different games, from the reputation that he's got, the respect that he has around the league, yeah, I think he deserved to make one of those teams. But I think he deserved to make it last year as well. And one of the messages that I want to kind of make known for those that are tired of this game or confused about it. Look, man, you are small markets. If you're a guy like that, to where you're a specialist of sorts, you want to make one of these teams, you have to be a personality of sorts. You have to be a superstar, or your team has to win when you're a small market team that hasn't won consistently. That's just the reality. I think not Herb, Drew Holiday is a perfect example. Think about how long it took him to make a defensive team. We talked about, him needing to make it every year. Or once he started to get healthy, he started to consistently play, at over 60 games. There was, I think, a couple seasons back to back we should have made a team. He ended up didn't. He didn't end up making a team until I think his second to last year, and the year after that in Orleans. That's how it works. And ironic. Now, with those teams, a little different because statistically, Drew was a part of a lot of bad statistical defensive teams for the Pelicans, which with him and Anthony Davis didn't make a lot of sense, but that was the reality. The interesting thing with Herb is that, statistically speaking, Herb was a part of a good defensive team, and I think for most of the season was a good defensive team, even on field. I think the Pelicans had some areas of weakness, but they had a good defensive season, I think, overall. And Herb was at the top of that list of reasons why his overall flexibility, his ability to guard different positions, his mind. I think early in the year he struggled with foul trouble in certain areas against certain guys. He got better as the year went on, and we saw some really good individual performances and some good team performances. But hey, man, the other side to that is, man, a lot of this is politics. If I thought about it the other day, I said if Jose Alvarado or Trey Murphy defensively were the player that Herb Jones was, let's say they were the same kind of player, top to bottom, but they had their personalities, there's no doubt that Trey or Jose would have made the team. That's just how it goes. More people think about their name, especially for a team that did not end up making the playoffs, that underachieved in some stretches when you ask around injuries or whatever the excuse, the rhyme or reason is why. That's how it works. And a lot of these national writers, man, I mean, hell, we don't even watch every game of every team. That's just how it works. A lot, but same goes for these national and these local writers. They don't watch every single game. And I forgot who said it on Twitter, man, but they said mediocre basketball in small markets don't sell. So it would have been a lot harder, especially Herb Jones, for him not being a personality, and a lot of games without Zion, and some games without Brandon Ingram, for him to get the recognition and get the watch that he deserved. You got dudes that know Herb. So I think defensively, you ask 7 out of 10 people, they know who he is. But when I was on Twitter during the year, I saw more people on average talk about his weaknesses shooting throughout the year than they did what he could do defensively. But, I think eventually, I think he will make a team. We should all agree that he will make a defensive team at some point. But winning is going to have to come with that. Some level of consistency. And that's beyond his control, right? I think it was Chaz, or it might have been Five. I don't remember who said it, but someone ended up saying, like, Brandon and Zion owe Herb Jones a defensive player, or a defensive team appearance. And that's a good value. I mean, that's a good point. The Pelicans finished top six. If the Pelicans finish top four, if the Pelicans just make the playoffs, if they're not in the play in, and more national writers are talking about them, and more national TV games have their stars available, more than likely, Herb Jones gets the benefit of that. He gets the benefit of being a part of those teams, and only because he has to overcompensate for the fact that he just wants to hoop. Fortunately, that's the downside to this business, to any business, to any type of, to these sports, is that it's more than just it's more than just your production. Unless you're winning or you're a superstar. If Kawhi Leonard wasn't a superstar player throughout his career, he would have missed a lot of different teams too. Personality sell, man. Brand sell. It meets the eye. It gives you a longer leash than it does for someone who just wildly goes about their business. That's unfortunate, but that's, I think, the name of the game. But back-to-back years of people having outrage. I saw J.J. Redick talk about it. There's a few other national pundits, national writers. Paul George said, I believe that he would vote Herb Jones as Defensive Player of the Year. And we saw this happen, ironically, again, with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was he was called, listen to so many podcasts, so many articles, most underrated player in the NBA. And his name kept being mentioned as one of the more underrated players in the league, to where he no longer became underrated. Slowly but surely, Pelicans get 1 year where I think they won 45 games a year. Boogie gets out, and if I'm correct, that was the year he ended up making his first defensive team as a Pelican. So Herb Jones may need a second fate. Hopefully, this is the year where everything comes together. When you get a chance to, a lot of individuals get an opportunity to get their, what was due. But I mean, look. The beginning of the year looked like, man, you had Jose Alvarado make a Rising Stars team. Trey Murphy made a Rising Stars team. Trey was in the dunk contest. CJ McCollum was in a 3-point shootout. The energy and the attention is there, right? It is there, but part of it is the fact that even with these superstars or these talents, they have to play. And more importantly, I think this team has to win. It has to succeed. You get that, you get some consistency. You get New Orleans, you get the Pelicans being more of a mainstream conversation. Some of this stuff is going to take care of itself, especially for Herb. So it's unfortunate, but I do think that he will make it. It's just that's the game. That's how it goes. That's how it's always been. It shouldn't be a surprise. This team wins next season, he'll be on one of those teams. And then we'll be talking about whether he deserves it or not. We'll be talking about, is he Defensive Player of the Year candidate? That's just how it goes. So, man, appreciate y'all for pulling up. I'll tap in with y'all again next week. Maybe do another list. Maybe talk another topic. I'm gonna try to maybe get a draft guest on to talk about current talent, possible future talent. But yeah, man, let me know what you think. What were your thoughts, if I missed them, about Herb Jones being snubbed? What do you think the Pelicans should do at 14? Shout out to our people at DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out to our guys and girls at Birdstar Law Firm, as well as New York Life. We're in space.